Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast Digging Deeper with Erica and Mandy.
Is it Erica and Mandy or Mandy and Erica?
Well, it's on there as Erica and Mandy.
Oh, it sounds better, Mandy and Erica.
Why?
It just flows nicer.
I don't know. Flows nicer for me with Erica first.
Okay.
I guess it's just, I don't know. Who's saying it, I guess. What do you guys think? Is it better Erica and Mandy or Mandy and Erica?
It's so much easier to say Mandy and Erica.
I don't want my name to be first.
Yeah, that's the problem. You. No, I appreciate your humbleness, but it is easier to say Mandy and Erica.
Okay, well, I'm still going to say Erica and Mandy.
Okay.
Welcome back. We took a week off because we had the week of refreshing. Can I just say I'm so glad that we took that week off because I got poison on my face and it looked really bad. So it kind of went away, but
You can barely even see a little red mark.
now you should have seen it.
I did see it last
When?
week when I came over to your house.
Oh, yeah, it was on there. That was gross.
It looks like a little red mark.
See it?
When I get poison, it's like bubbly and oozing, and it's usually all over my fingers. That doesn't look like that at all.
Yeah, it didn't. It itched a little bit, but it was really weird because, one, it's winter time. I thought
Yeah.
it died, but apparently it does not. And then I had a little piece right here. I put calamine lotion on it. That's what dried it up.
Huh.
So,
What were you doing to get poison on your face in the middle of winter?
so my dad and my brother have a like a firewood business.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped them out with that. So we were dragging trees out of
You're
the
dragging
woods.
trees out of the woods?
Yeah, well, me and my brother, he was cutting them with the chainsaw, cutting them down, or cutting them up for them to be smaller, to be drug out. I was tying the chain around it, and then my dad was pulling them out with the skid loader. And then I'd go unchain it for him so he didn't have to get in and out. But
Just normal stuff.
oh yeah, everyday stuff here. If you know me or get to know me, you know that I don't do anything that regular women do.
All right.
Yeah, because I'm a weirdo.
No, not a weirdo.
I don't like doing what everybody else does. All right, back to this.
Okay. What's going on? What are we doing this week? Or
So,
this series?
This series is a 4-week series.
Yeah, it seems that way at this point.
Yeah, at this point it is. And we don't have a name for it. So Erica suggested the untitled,
The unknown
title. So, but we have like a subtitle, so.
Well, originally, we started out, we were going to talk about Jericho in the Old Testament. The walls of Jericho fall down.
Right.
That's where we started. And then when we were studying independently, we both felt the story starts way before Jericho and it finishes after the walls fall.
Mhm.
So then we didn't know what to call it.
Right. Because you can't call it the walls of Jericho crumbling. Can't call it just Joshua because there's more to it than just Joshua.
There's so much to it. When you dig deep, we just started with that one verse, Joshua 6. And
Yeah.
we said, we're just going to stay in here and have our podcast series on that.
Yeah.
And then you and I both were like, no, it just doesn't work. If you want to get the full context and full story of what's going on, you can't just stay right here.
Right.
Okay, so I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
I was thinking about this earlier.
Okay.
How long are you going to keep the car that you have now?
Okay, so a little bit of backstory is we always have different cars because I worked for Erica. Actually, that's kind of how we met.
Yeah.
And so, I'd be pulling in with different cars all the time.
Like all the time, like every time, every day she'd come to work, it was a new vehicle. Like a nice one, too. And I'm like, how do you do this?
Willing and dealing. No, but we just got a Jeep Gladiator about 6 or 7 months ago now. So that's leased. We leased those.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be going back in about 3 years. But Joby's going tomorrow to buy our Jeep Wrangler.
Oh my goodness. So how many vehicles will you have at that point?
At that point, we'll have 4, but we intend on selling one after winter's over because this is an older Jeep, so they rust out really easily. But the frame and the underneath is really nice on it, so he wants to not drive it in the salt so that it'll stay nice until he can put some stuff under it.
You two are like really into cars.
A little bit.
Do you still want to have your car lot, your used car lot?
I'd love to.
That's so funny because my family business sells and services auto shop equipment, and then you came and helped us there in the office. Well, in the office, in the parking lot,
know if you would
in the
call that
inventory
help.
room. She was dragging around warehouse racking that's like 400 pounds. So it was just funny how you guys are so into cars and we're kind of in that industry too.
Dude, we can just do one more thing together then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about cars though. I just sit at the
No,
computer.
but you
every day.
can loan us a tire changer and a wheel balancer.
Sure.
And we'll say, if you want one, stop over GK Equipment because they provide them. They
Yeah.
sell them. They don't provide them. They sell.
Right. So yeah, and anyone watching,
Yes.
if you need a tire changer, wheel balancer, car lift, air compressor, get a hold of me.
Or shelving.
Warehouse racking, forklift, donkey, we have it all.
They do have everything. And if they don't have it, they'll get it for you.
Right. I got a bakery display case for the church. Found a good deal at an auction. Yeah.
See everything.
Okay, let's get into this.
All right.
Enough about us.
Yep. So we're going to be focusing on Joshua as the leader, right?
Right.
Or a leader or whatever. Because Moses, he was dying. So did he die first and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give a little bit more of a background?
Yeah.
Okay,
Please.
so we all know Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the
Who?
found Abraham.
Just kidding.
Oh boy, I was like, oh, we have to go back really far. Okay. Genesis.
Okay, let's calm this down.
We have I'm saying founding fathers, like this is America or something. The patriarchs is what they're called, of the nation of Israel. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. I don't know if you would consider him a group. Anyway. No. Okay. God originally says to Abram, at the time his name was Abram, I am going to multiply your descendants. He had none at the time. I'm going to multiply your descendants and give you this nation, and you will inherit this land. You will be my possession, this group of people. While he relied in faith on that promise, he ended up having one son. Well, he had 2, but there's only one from him and his wife, Isaac. Then it went to Jacob. And then, I won't get into the whole story because it'll take a long time. They find their way into Egypt. And the whole nation of Israel turns into slaves, and they're slaves in Egypt for 400 years, 430. And then Moses is called by God to lead the Israelites from slavery out of Egypt and into the promised land. And that was the plan, to take them directly from Egypt, real quick through the wilderness, and go right into the promised land. And if you look at it on a map, there's a river, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the starting point. You cross the Jordan, and then all of that land is that land that God promised them. There's people living there, other nations. There's that coffee pot again.
Nobody ever uses it.
No,
but it's
like,
over there
hasn't
heating
been
up.
used again in 3 days, but the water must be heated.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so you
Just ignore that.
cross the Jordan and just take over. Basically take the land. God gave it to them. But we know that the nation, when they're in the wilderness, they're rebellious. They don't trust God. They're not faithful. So God says, you guys can stay in the wilderness for 40 years. I will raise up your sons and daughters, the next generation, and I will take them into the promised land. So 40 years goes by, but during that time, they're like weaving around through the wilderness, and they are making their way up to that Jordan River. And so when we come to the book of Joshua, at this point, Moses has died, And Joshua is called to lead in place of Moses. And now they are at that Jordan River right now. It's the new generation, the next generation that God said he'd take over, and they're preparing to go in and take over. And the very first land that they're going to take on is Jericho. You've heard the walls of Jericho fall down. This is what's happening. This is where we are right now. That's what we were going to talk about, was that event of Jericho.
Yeah, but it's more than that. We need to take a look at Joshua, because if you look at Joshua as a leader, then we'll kind of have like the stepping stones on how we should be as a leader too.
Right, exactly.
And it doesn't have to be like a leader of a great big church event or anything. It can be the leadership of your home, over your kids, you know.
Yeah.
You start there.
That's what I thought too. You don't have to necessarily be in an official leadership position. You lead, you manage your household. Even if you go to work every day,
Yeah.
you are a leader by default if you're faithful to the word, if you stand on biblical principles, just by conviction, you are a leader to the culture around you.
Mm-hmm.
So we might say leader in this podcast, but we're talking about every woman out there who wants to live like a holy, set-apart life, a set-apart life that is faithful to the word and different from society.
Yeah.
Okay. So what specifically about Joshua as the leader did you jot down?
All kind of stuff.
I did too.
I didn't have like a specific thing. I just read through 1 through 5, and then I just, jotted some stuff down that caught my eye. Yeah, Joshua
1 through 5.
Chapter 1 through chapter 5. Because chapter 6 is where the walls fall down, right?
Right.
Yeah, so there's probably going to be a lot of reading on my part. I just wanted to add this real fast because this has been on my mind a lot lately, and I wanted to share it with you guys and you because I haven't told you this yet either. But y'all know how I read. I don't really read dumb like this. This is how God keeps me humble. Because he's like, he knows that I can get a big head real fast. And by me, like, stuttering and can't really read, like, because I don't read like that. I can read.
So this is like the thorn in your side or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what keeps me humble because I look like an idiot. Because it looks like I can't read, but I really can. It's just, that's how he keeps me humble throughout this whole thing. So, yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to start with yours first, or you want me to start?
I agreed that there was a lot that we had to read. So the first one I put down was, when we say we noticed things as we read through, I think it's a little deeper than that. I mean, I prayed over it. I know you prayed over it. I feel the Spirit has led us, I would say. I think that's probably better. I know that what convicted me, we'll say, when I was reading through it, is that Joshua is given commands directly from God. So God speaks in some way to Joshua, and he's given commands to him. And it's almost like Joshua immediately does it. Whatever he's commanded, it's like he turns around and he tells the people exactly what he's told. He makes a battle plan. If God says, be strong, courageous, which he does, I counted at least 5 times, he is, and that we have proof of that in chapter 5. God gives him commands like, you're going to cross. Well, immediately he sets up a battle plan of how he's going to cross the river, where he's going to go. He doesn't delay. And that convicted me for sure, because I feel like sometimes I know that God has called me to do something or commanded me to do something, and I delay, or I wait, or just put it on the back burner because I'm busy right now. I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all know this podcast was probably supposed to happen about a year ago, and I just didn't, not that I didn't want to do it, I really wanted to do it, I just didn't do it because I was scared, I think it was.
Fear.
But I mean, like you said, God said how many times, don't be afraid in here.
Mm-hmm.
And like I have more of it, you know, I got about 2.5 pages of stuff. And that's a lot for me because I don't normally have that much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But can we start in Joshua 1:3?
Yeah.
Joshua 1:3. I promise you what I promised Moses. Everywhere you go, you will be on the land I have given you. So I just want to point out that God promised Joshua the same promise that he promised Moses. And that God is faithful through all of this because, you know, he did give it to Joshua because he was faithful. Now Moses, he was faithful too.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other people wasn't, and that's why he didn't get to enter the promised land. And plus, he did do something stupid.
Yeah.
With the rock.
Yeah.
And the staff. But anyway, so God promises that to Joshua. And then I have, you know, well, why did God promise it to Joshua? Well, because Joshua did what the Lord told him to, just like Moses did. So yeah, that was that. Let's look at Joshua 1:5-9. No one will be able to stand their ground against you as long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Be strong and courageous, for you will lead my people to possess all the land I swore to give to their ancestors, just like Erica was saying earlier.
I want to point out that if you count how many years it's been at least 500 years or more.
Since Abraham, Abram.
Yeah, since that first promise went out. So it's been that long.
Could you imagine? I mean, that's kind of why Sarah took it upon herself, or what was it Sarai at the time?
Sarai or something like that. Mm-hmm.
She went and had her servant sleep with Abraham,
her husband,
to try to get things rolling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it seems bad, but if you think about it, I can totally understand.
I probably would have done. I mean, I wouldn't have given my husband somebody to sleep with, but I'd have started something.
I would have started thinking like, okay, it's gonna happen, but in a way, like not in the way God said. Maybe in a different way. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So be strong and very courageous. Obey all the laws Moses gave you. Do not turn away from them, and you will be successful in everything you do. All right. So what is the law that Moses gave him? Do you know what it is?
The law? Yeah, it's like all of Deuteronomy.
I looked it up, and it was the first 5 books of the Bible.
Okay.
So, and then
well, I
don't know because they were saying it's the Torah and all that.
I don't think it's the Torah because the Torah is the Jewish Bible, which is the Pentateuch, which is the first 5 books.
That's what it said.
But I don't. Is that what Moses gave to Joshua? I don't know.
Because whenever I was looking it up, that's what it said. That's what every single person said.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess what Moses wrote Genesis, so I'm sure he had to have given it away before he died. He didn't come back, write it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense then.
So they didn't have the whole Bible like we do. So they only had the first 5 books, I guess you would say, of the Old Testament because that was before Jesus was here. So they didn't really know what to do or how to live. Like they did all the sacrifices and stuff, but so Joshua continued in what Moses was doing. All right, this still applies to us to this day and age. We don't just have the book, but we have the whole Bible to learn from. So, you know, whatever the whole Bible is telling us, this is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know for me, myself, I lose sight of that. Not lose sight, but like sometimes I just forget to read or that's not my first thought. And it should always be my first thought. That and praying, I have a really hard time with that. I don't know why.
Sometimes we want a shortcut and we just want to read a blog or we want to listen to a podcast or we just want the Cliff Note version of the Bible. we find like so many different creative ways to get the word into us, but we could just open the Bible and read it.
And can I just, how do I want to word it? Can I challenge you guys at home that with the stuff that we say, and even your pastor, just go home and look up what they're preaching on, what we're teaching on. Just make sure it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can get fed all day long with somebody telling us, but we need to look at that to make sure that it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not, then you're getting taught the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need that.
No. Mm-mm.
So I think that'd be a good challenge for everybody.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, so far you and I have read from Joshua 1 through 6. I think I read into 7 actually. Why don't we just challenge us to read through at least throughout the duration of this podcast, read through those books or those chapters at least, of Joshua.
Now, I'll just remind you, I'm not a strong reader. I'm a decent reader. But if I can do it, I think you guys can do it. Because I don't really like to read. And then Erica sent me her notes. I'm like, oh, I got to read all this now. I don't want to. And then, I was reading through it, and it's really short. It's not that
To
much.
me, it's super interesting. It's a historical book. And I love that.
There's so much to learn.
It was entertaining to me. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
I put Winnie the Pooh on for my 2-year-old. And she's like, Winnie the Pooh. And I'm sitting back there reading the book of Joshua.
Hi guys, we're going to stop the video right here. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. It stopped recording the video, but we do have the voice, so we're going to make 2 parts out of this. Part 1, which has the video, and then part 2 that has the voice. So we're going to throw up part 2. If you just want to come back and listen to it, that'd be great. It is just going to have the audio. It's not going to have any video with it because, again, it messed up somehow. It quit recording and I didn't catch it. But thanks for tuning in, and make sure you watch the second video to see how it ends with Joshua. Thanks, guys.